Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jodo Cast, your Star Wars gaming podcast. This is episode... what are we on? 67? Yeah, because y'all did 66 without me, I believe. Wait, y'all did Order 66 without me? I hate you. Anyways, I'm Evan Lewis.
Yeah, we forgot to make a joke about it, too.
Oh, well, we'll do it retroactively. And that's Joe Latovsky. He says hi. He said already.
Yeah,
all
you're
right.
cutting out, so I'm guessing what you're saying.
All right, perfect. And Leo Andre.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Leo.
How's it going?
Good.
All right, that sounds good. Before we get to what we've been playing, and because it's been a little while, so sorry for that.
It's been a while since
But,
I could say what I've been playing.
Okay, now here's the thing: if we're gonna have a Patreon award level of me not singing, are we really gonna let Joe get away with this?
We have to add another level.
Okay, that's fair. That's all I ask. All right, so speaking of patrons, guess what? Thank you to all the patrons that are still the greatest people to ever walk the face of the earth. You make this happen, for better or worse, and we cannot thank you enough. We truly appreciate it, your time, your talents, and your contributions. So thank you, and if anyone else would like to see what these awesome people do for us, they can do so over at patreon.com/thejodocast. And if you feel so inclined, you can jump on board that train also, and you too can be a part of the conversation. You can steer this ship, and there's some really cool stuff coming your way too. Not just a thank you card, a custom-made thank you card, not just a thank you on the air. We have custom cards for your Star Wars tabletop game. In fact, there's some new ones headed out relatively soon? Question mark, Leo? Joe?
The internet says they should be arriving at my house on Monday.
Very cool. I'm super excited for these. And I know Joe is too.
Yes.
At least I assume he is excited. I shouldn't speak for Joe, but yes,
I'm
these
excited.
are.
I like all of the... This is the second batch of custom art cards we got, so if you get in now, you'll only have missed out on one of them. You'll be close to having a complete set.
And these are really kick-ass. And these are all Leo originals. And I love them. They are fantastic. I'm super stoked for this.
Yes.
So yeah, come check that out. You'll get to see what they look like before you get it. And, let us know what you'd like for the next batch. I have ideas, but, we want to hear what you have to say. So again, patreon.com/thejodocast. Thank you. Now, what have we been playing? Joe.
Battlefront II. A decent amount of that. Imperial Assault. I actually got in a game of X-Wing the other day. I've been playing a lot of Imperial Assault as much as I can because I'm trying to practice for regionals, which I'm going to in Denver on Saturday. So 2 days from now.
Ooh. Go,
And
Joe.
my goal, like every tournament I go to, is to win one game. That's my first tier goal. And my second tier goal is make top 8. And every Imperial Assault regional I've ever gone to, I've made 9th place.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, I've been practicing for that. I got in a game of X-Wing, and I'm sort of like getting the X-Wing itch again, like not super hard, but I'm like interested in playing more frequently than I have been. And there's a new store that just opened up close who are thinking of having a weekly league starting in January, so I might see if that league is a little bit more my speed than all the other ones that run in town that I just have no interest in. I think that's all I played. Battlefront, Imperial Assault, and X-Wing.
That's all, huh? All right. How about Leo?
Well,
No, we played the RPG.
Battlefront.
Played the RPG since then, too.
Hey, that's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, we did some role playing, which people should be finding out about shortly.
I would hope, at least, even with my editing schedule, I would hope that by the time they're listening to this, they will already have noticed a previous episode.
Okay. Well, it's not out right now as of
No,
recording.
It's not.
As of this actually being posted, yeah, I guess it would be out already.
So,
hello, future people.
Let's hype up an episode that's theoretically already out.
You know
People
what?
listen
Maybe
to
they
it
missed
again.
it.
They
Maybe they
probably
missed
did.
it.
Except our patrons, they're on top of that because they're the best.
Is it all you got?
I don't know. Probably.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll go. I actually got to play Destiny with Zach from, or formerly of, Most Isley Radio. So that was a lot of fun. And he actually brought the thunder. I didn't remember him having a lot of good cards, but he had enough.
Evan thought you sucked until you didn't.
See, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with playing against Zach. Regardless of how much time I spend carefully deck building and checking the meta and making sure that I have a deck that I think could conquer the world, Zach can almost always beat me. It doesn't matter what game.
He
Doesn't
beats your
matter.
deck.
He does. Like
Sorry.
now that's okay. It was the deck that I thought,
I was
because I brought two.
Never mind. Carry on.
I brought a hero deck and I brought a villain deck. The hero deck that I thought would win, it won, but barely. And the villain deck that I thought would lose, it lost, but barely. And I'm going to break both of those up and make whole new ones, because now that I have a crap ton of good cards, I'm going to make a different set of decks. But, yeah, he actually ran... what did he do? Now, I mean, he doesn't have all of the cards. He has a limited pool of cards to pick from, and I told him to keep picking Awakenings whenever he buys new packs. So he's got just Elite, Kylo, and Vader, but he had all the right cards to take advantage of that. I mean,
Does he have the 2-player set? Because I've seen that going on clearance at Target some places.
He did pick up the 2-player set, and he asked me where the best place was to pick it up, and I said, check Target. It should be on sale, and it wasn't by us, so he still picked it up, but he didn't get the good deal. And then just a couple days ago, he actually had his nephew. Just in case Zach listens to this, he can correct me, but I'm pretty sure it was his nephew. I'm sorry, I don't remember entirely.
His uncle.
It might be. I don't know. He might have been a younger uncle. That can happen.
A yunkle?
A yunkle. Yep. But we taught him how to play, and of course, this game you pick up super quick. There's no need for an instructional video. It's just easy, and that was great. And then, of course, he and I bought more packs while we were at it. And I finally got a Vader. So I'm within 20 cards, maybe, of having a complete Awakenings set of just singles, not like doubles. But so, anyways, yeah, I'm back on board Destiny. Oh, and Battlefront II. I almost forgot about that. But I suppose that's a segue. Of course, you don't really announce segues, do you? You just sort of...
We apparently do.
roll.
I think historically you could look at the record.
Yeah, I'd say probably at least 80% of our segues get announced as such.
That's true. We should have a segue song, a ditty, if you will, a segue ditty. If anyone in the community...
A song that always gets stuck in my head. There was a video of a chimpanzee riding on a Segway. And the song goes, chimpanzee riding on a Segway, chimpanzee riding on a Segway. And on like that.
I think you've just given us the soundbite that we need to put on repeat for approximately 20 seconds. So, thank you for that. Your contributions do not go unnoticed. So, Battlefront II-2. I still think that's the best way of denoting these games. With a Roman numeral 2 dash. I can never remember. Arabic 2? Is that what it is? Arabic 2? American 2. There we go. So, yeah. Okay, so, a lot has happened. We did not talk about the game immediately upon release, and I'm kind of glad because so much has happened. And it's kind of crazy. So, we want to have some kind of form, not just us yelling over each other. So let's talk about the campaign
Too bad,
first.
I'm going to be yelling.
Are we talking
I
about
know.
the whole game? I thought we were just talking about the campaign today.
Okay, well...
I don't know, I don't care.
Hey, you know what?
We'll
we can. If you can fill up an hour with campaign talk, let's do it. Okay, in that case, spoiler warning right now.
Okay, insert like the Kill Bill siren here.
Nope, that's not it.
There we go.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da.
That was a pretty good siren Kill Bill impersonation. I'm proud of you, Joe.
Listeners, comment with your favorite siren sound effect.
You can comment with the clip of George from the episode of Seinfeld where they're describing different kinds of European police sirens. I don't know why. I love that one. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, if we can...
I think
we
it's
just
there.
wind up... It could be. You never know. I don't know. If we wind up just talking about campaign, I won't complain because that's my favorite part of the game.
Oof! Wow, you must really hate the multiplayer then.
Okay. In a nutshell, I played multiplayer with Joe and it was fine. Like it was much better for me. Like I'm actually middle of the pack most of the time instead of bottom of the barrel. So multiplayer is good for me. But after finishing the campaign, I felt kind of done. I was kind of like, okay, well, that's great. I'll wait for the next single-player expansion. But then I've also been busy, so I can't really put it all on feeling just satisfied and done and like, okay, see ya until further notice.
This is a little off campaign, but with the last Battlefront, when that came out, I basically dropped all the other games I was playing, and I played that, and I played that, and I played that, and eventually then I started playing other games again, but I never stopped playing Battlefront 2015. With this one, I'm already, like, I maybe play, like, 1 or 2 matches every other day, and I've been playing, like, Batman Arkham Asylum and Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I'm, like, don't feel, like, compelled to keep playing it the way I did with the last one, which is kind of disappointing. But campaign, I guess. Why don't we start at the beginning, before the game was out and we were getting marketing about the campaign? We were told, we get a single player, which everyone was excited about.
I was, for sure.
Everybody
was.
Like I wasn't interested in Battlefront 2 at all until they announced that they were adding a campaign this time.
And then there's, what's now? You play as a member of Inferno Squad, this elite special forces imperial unit, and you're going to be playing the campaign from the Empire's perspective, and you're going to see what it's like to be on the Empire, and you're going to be an Empire person, and you're going to play as the Empire, and you're going to be an Empire.
Instead, we got the same story we've been told about 3,000 times.
And then the tie-in novel came out, and it was not the worst, and it was made you a little more excited about playing as the Empire. And then they're like, you know what? Nah, Empire is kind of not great.
You get to play like one mission as the Empire.
You get to play like 2.5, where like half
Where
is
most of
just
it's
kind
walking.
of walking and listening
Yeah.
to exposition.
So yeah, first mission, you're a robot.
That's also true.
You know what? It bugged me that they never gave the droid a name. They just call it droid, which I took as, oh, they are the bad guys, because the bad guys see them as tools, and the rebels, get all cutesy with them. And even after they are like, I guess we'll be rebels, they still call it droid, and I'm like, come on, give it a
yes.
name.
I thought that was weird, too, especially after the paint job.
Yeah.
I was going to say that was one bit of writing that they actually kind of did an okay job with, because I noticed, like, in the first couple levels where you are in the Empire, like, she's kind of like a dick when she's telling her droid to go do stuff. She's, like, super bossy. But in, like, the later levels, when she tells the droid to go do stuff, she's a little bit more friendly about it, you know?
Just give him a name.
Yeah.
But she's still just, she's just like, it's just like,
I got
like
always have a
your
naming
dog.
contest.
Your dog is just dog.
Can we?
So
have
what
a
is? So
naming
what is
contest?
the actual designation of it?
It's
Do we
an
know?
ID 10 seeker droid. The Seventh Sister had ID 9 seeker droids. This is like one up from that. It's ID 10. I hereby submit my submission for its name, Proberto.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that'll happen in the DLC campaign.
Proberto, get over here. So yeah, because she's been captured by the rebels on purpose, unbeknownst to them, because they have information that is going to tell them that the Empire knows what they're up to at Sullus. And she needs to make sure they don't know that they're onto them, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, they have information about the whole like Imperial fleet basically hiding out at Endor.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. But yeah, and she needed to get rid of that, so they didn't know. It starts out fun. I mean, I've seen a lot of people have technical issues with the campaign. I didn't have any technical issues at all with the game.
Yeah.
Maybe I got lucky, or maybe I just wasn't going out of my way to try and like break things and make it less fun for myself.
Yeah. See, I thought that the probe droid mission was stupid.
I thought most of
It
the
was
first
like-
level was bad.
It was, you just, like, okay, you go down a hallway until you find a vent, okay? And then you fly up into the vent, and then you go down the vent until you get to the end of the vent, and then you pop down into a hallway, and you just hover down the hallway until you get to the next vent. The only part of that level that was interesting is when you were in the big, like, open area where there's like all kinds of dudes walking around, and you actually have to like sort of sneak and hide behind like computer terminals and things like that. Other than that, you're just pretty much flying straight down a hallway until you get to the next vent to fly into. Occasionally you might have to stop while you're in the ducts to wait for the little zappy electricity that's randomly running through the air ducts for whatever reason to
You
turn
gotta
off.
electrify that air. You don't want stale air. You gotta spice it up.
Ionize it or whatever.
That's part of the halogen allergy prevention system.
Ah,
Like you used to get a sharper image, you remember?
right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was
So then,
stupid.
well, she does that. She blows herself out the airlock. Gets picked up by the Raider, where they have like just impeccable timing. Jumps out of hyperspace at the right spot to like intercept her flying through space, which is fine. Whatever. I mean,
That's fine, I guess.
it doesn't really bother me. It is a little implausible, but it's Star
I
Wars,
thought it
so
was
I
a
don't
little meh.
I mean, that didn't really bother me. I mean, you've seen like that in plenty of other games. That bit was like, whatever. But
so what then? Then we go to Endor and we see the Death Star blow up. And they're just like, all right, moving on.
And I just, speaking of the second level also, like I didn't really enjoy it at all until I got to, not to bypass this one completely, but I didn't enjoy any of the levels until the Luke level. And maybe it was just me, but
yeah, it's just you.
Really?
Because that's the worst level in the history of all FPSs ever.
It's hardly an FPS though at that point.
I feel like I fall in between you two on the Luke level, but one thing that bugged me because after the Death Star blows up, you just got to get to a ship and fly out of there. Yeah. And when you're flying, so when she lands in the bay of the Corvus, their Raider, you see they have a TIE fighter in their hangar of the Raider. Later, when you're flying around trying to protect the Raider from Rebel ships, I flew my TIE fighter right alongside it, and the little hangar door on the side was like half as tall as my TIE fighter. So like the scale of the in-game Raider model when you get to fly around is just way off from what you saw in the cutscenes, which, like, it's a video game with digital assets. The scale shouldn't need to be sliding. Like, you can mess with scale in tabletop games, and you can mess with scale in old movies when you have physical models for different shots. If you're working with digital assets, keep the scales perfect.
Yeah, there's no need to modify perspective with that.
But that just kind of was like, really?
So
what happens
let's see.
then?
So the Endor mission. Let's see. Yeah, you just kind of run through the jungle.
They go to Vardos straight after that, right?
Yes, because because they're starting.
I liked Endor, seeing the generic stormtroopers fighting alongside you, like, and then watching them die.
You guys aren't hearing me.
I hear you.
I hear you.
Sorry, I was just saying, like, you must not have back there. I don't know. I was saying a bunch of stuff, and you guys just, like, didn't hear me. I don't know.
I mean, Joe just talks over us all the time anyway,
yeah,
so.
I know. He's a jackass.
I just don't even take notice of it anymore.
No, they don't go to Vardos right after Endor. Because isn't there some mission where you've got to, like, get a Star Destroyer out of space dock or something like that?
Oh yeah.
Which was just kind of whatever to me.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
To free the satellites.
So, I don't know. Whatever. See, there we go. That's how forgettable most of this is. Oh, yeah, that's right, because we got to go get the stupid, the Operation Cinder satellites or whatever. Back when I was thinking that this story was building up to somewhere interesting.
Yeah, so then they go to... Well, then she talks to her papa, Admiral Versio, who's... They meet the... I really, really, really liked all of the tie-ins with other canon works, like the Shattered Empire comics and the Aftermath books, and there's a lot of little Easter eggs here and there beyond just the kind of the larger tie-ins.
See, I guess I feel like they're not really Easter eggs. They're just...
Continuity?
It's just like, if you're going to stick something in the Star Wars universe, well,
I'm not saying that's
other shit from the Star Wars universe is going to appear in there. I guess
I'm not saying, like,
I guess
talking to the... Like, the Sentinel droid, that's not an Easter egg. I'm saying, like, when there's a character in the background talking about a purple Wookiee, and you know he's talking about Zeb or something like that. That's like an Easter egg. Or when they say the name of a drink, which was like from an old source book or something. I don't know.
I agree.
I disagree.
That's fair. You're entitled to be wrong.
Even if you don't want to call them Easter eggs, I do really like the tie-ins they had, because a lot of things don't...
Well, the fact that they actually embraced continuity from things, like you said, other than the movies. The other comic books and book references.
Kind of catalyst of where I think most of our complaints are going to start is Operation Cinder, which was originally from the Shattered Empire comic.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, here's some weather satellites to make bad weather, and we're going to do it to your home planet. And she's like, but that's my home planet. I'm already getting annoyed by how it goes. I think if I hadn't read the book, it wouldn't have bothered me at all. It would have been kind of trite and cliche, and I would have just accepted it as just kind of been there, done that storytelling.
See, and that's how I feel. I just feel like it was a really stupid, cliche way to go with the story.
Because they're wrecking her planet with weather, and they're like, you can't save anybody except this one person that's your mission. And she's like, no, we got to save everybody. These are Imperial citizens. These are who we're, that's like what we're supposed to do. And they're like, no. And she's like, okay, well, I can't not save these people. And that felt so different from her in the novel. I don't know if Evan agrees with me, but in the novel, she's like mortified that the first Death Star blew up. She thinks that's just the worst thing. She's really broken up about it. And she thinks Alderaan was justified in being blown up, and she feels like a sense of righteousness about that. That's like a monster who's just completely soaked into the propaganda of the Empire. If you're okay with Alderaan being blown up, I mean, I get that it's her home planet, and she feels like these are Imperial citizens and not, like, rebels on Alderaan, but still, like, she was so deep in there that I just needed more inner conflict with her before she made the choice to switch.
Well, and like even her reaction to the Death Star blowing up and to the news of the Emperor being dead.
In the first trailer, she goes, impossible, and that wasn't in the game, I don't think. She takes it a lot more
in stride.
Yeah.
She just sort of watches it blow up, and then like the other people in the Inferno Squad seem, Hask and Del seem more broken up about it than she is. They're like, what are we gonna do? And she's all like, we're just gonna keep going. Whatevs.
Now I'm gonna play. I'm gonna say devil's advocate. I'm gonna say EA's advocate. Same thing. Devil's advocate. How many years, if we look at the book Inferno Squad, which was just barely after New Hope, and then we jump ahead to the game, and that's right smack on top of Return of the Jedi, that's roughly 3, give or take 4 years?
Well, it would be somewhere between 2 and 3 years.
Oh, because I thought it was a 3-year gap.
Well, it's a 3-year gap between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So if the book takes place after A New Hope, and this is taking place during Return of the Jedi, that would be a 2 to 3 year gap.
I would have okay. That's still fine for my point, but I would have sworn it was 3 between New Hope and Empire, and then a year between Empire and Jedi. But doesn't matter.
I thought it was like 6 months or something, but yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So the point is, a lot could have happened. And I'm not trying to say that your point is wrong. By no means are any of these points wrong. But if someone had to argue for it, all the time. But I mean, a lot could have happened to make her, because we ended the book with her, not 100% on board, maybe like 99, 98% on board.
In the book, so here's some book spoilers coming up real soon. If you don't want to hear
If
them.
you haven't switched away from spoilers by now.
In the book, she's deep, they're all deep undercover in the book. In order to not blow her cover, she executes one of her own teammates to not blow her cover. That's dedication to the cause.
Well, to call it an execution, it was going to be, but her teammate forced her hand to make it happen. But you're right.
Yeah. So, it was just, give me, like, if this was a book, give me, like, one more page where she has a little bit more hesitation, like extend that cutscene by 10 minutes and just let me see her being like, Hask, Del, what do we do? Because I was perfectly fine with Del going that route.
I was gonna say it's really sad that the background character Del, like his journey from hardcore imperialist to rebel was a little bit more believable. Like
it was.
Like that was honestly the only good thing about the Luke mission. Okay, first gameplay wise.
Okay, that's why I liked it. How about that?
Okay,
that's also
gameplay wise. That Luke mission is the worst fucking thing you will ever play.
I almost don't want to censor this episode because it's so great.
I did not enjoy the gameplay of the Luke mission. I thought the level was pretty. That was about it. I hated fighting the bugs. The bugs were so annoying to fight.
Yes.
And it was just like so stupid. You just are like sort of like awkwardly waving your lightsaber around in their general direction.
But the story of that level is probably my favorite in the whole game. I love how they did Luke, and I love the interactions he had with Del, and how they sort of.
I think it had like my favorite. Well, except for the Lando and Shriv interactions, it's like the actual like nuts and bolts of the story. It probably had one of my favorite lines, which is the bit where Luke uses the Force to open the door because that's the only way to open it, and Del's like, why would the Emperor have a door that you needed the Force to open? And Luke's like, why do you think?
Yeah, that whole thing was great because Del talked about hearing like boogeyman stories about the Jedi growing up on Coruscant, and Luke is like, maybe you were told to fear the wrong thing or something like that. And I loved how they did Luke, and Del's just like, why did you help me? He's like, because you asked. I'm like, yeah, what a badass.
Even though that guy didn't really sound like Luke that much. By the end of the level, it didn't really bother me. Right. But like the first chunks of the level, I was like, what?
Luke and Kylo, I feel like, have kind of really off voice actors in this game, but at least with Kylo, when his helmet's on, it's not a big deal.
I didn't really buy Lando either. I don't know about that guy.
No,
sounds too old.
I will say one thing about the voices for the characters that were not portrayed by their own people. For my money, I think it's more important for them to get the character right than to sound like the original actor. And I feel like the Luke actor did that much better in this one than the sound bites of the character from the first one from 2015.
Hey, was Hask played by Detective Lance?
Yeah, he was.
I mean, not from Arrow. I guess
I love Paul
Blackthorne. I think everybody in the campaign
great.
gave really good performances. It's just I needed like more performance for them to give me I needed Iden to be like, I don't know what to do in this situation. That would be a good moment because she's in charge. She's been in charge of Inferno Squad since the Death Star blew up over Yavin, and she's like, take no shit, like badass. And to have a moment where she doesn't know what to do would be really interesting and humanizing. But she's just like,
Yeah, I think I mentioned this. It was either on Discord or it was on Twitter at some point, that if this story had been told in a different medium or even a different genre of game, I think the overall story would have come off much, much better because it would have been afforded time, and you don't get a lot of time in a game that is so heavily action.
I have said the opposite. If this story was told to me as a movie or a book, I would have liked it a lot less because I would have had a harder time forgiving the stuff I feel is missing. Like these.
Yeah, I would have judged it more harshly.
If it was as is, I'd be like, where's the paragraph where she's like soul searching? Where's it
Yeah.
just moves so fast in this where you jump from thing to thing. It feels like it's a bit jarring how fast they're moving. And even after they decide to abandon the Empire, so okay, that's cool. You've decided that you cannot abide the Empire killing its own citizens and not caring about it. Okay, we'll do that. Then the first thing they do is they're like, all right, well, I guess we better tell the rebels about this. I'm like, well, give me maybe another thing where they debate about that more, because as far as I know, they would still view the rebels as agents of chaos and terrorists, and even if they can't do the Empire anymore, they would still have a distaste about the rebellion, instead of just being so like, all right, yeah, I guess that's, if we can't do the Empire, I guess we got to do the rebellion. Maybe try it.
And
maybe be your own thing.
That's even what Luke said when he offered Del an alternative. He was like, "What? Join the rebellion?" Like, nope. Just what was it? Just be better, be something better. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, that's interesting. Maybe they will, turn away, but not turn to the Alliance. That would be interesting."
Yeah,
That
that's
would be
kind
cool
of
if you.
that's what I was expecting the story to kind of go, especially since they were hyping up the whole, oh, you're gonna see things from the Imperial side. When they first were talking about the campaign, like I was sort of expecting that they were going to splinter off from the Empire, but still not be rebels. Maybe they would
Right.
try and stop Operation Cinder, but not actually join up with the rebellion. But no, instead, they end up becoming best buddies with every character from the movies. I mean, it's like this whole thing is written like a high schooler's fan fiction of something,
And I
where
wonder
it's like
how
it's all like
much-
it's there's this is the chapter where I hung out with Leia all the time, and then this is the chapter where I got to where me and Han Solo palled around, and
I really enjoyed the cameo missions for the most part, especially the story of the Luke one, and I liked the Leia one. But I agree, if they felt very shoehorned in. As much I enjoyed playing them, and I thought that it was fun to play as those people, so I was willing to forgive it some more. But story-wise, it felt very shoehorned, and I wonder if it wasn't because I forget if it was in the article about the Visceral game that died. There was some EA executive saying like, if they don't put Chewbacca in the game, their customers aren't going to understand what's happening. I wonder if somebody with that sort of idiot mindset was like, wait, you wrote a story about where's Han Solo? How is he not in a Star Wars game? And they're like, because this is about Inferno Squad and Iden Versio. They're like, no, put Han Solo in there. And they're like, okay.
I mean, they did. I mean, it really broke up the narrative of the story
Right.
a lot.
I
think
it
was the whole thing would have flowed better without most of those missions.
right.
Like
I think
the Leia one kind of worked with
Right.
it, but the Han and the Lando missions both were like their own thing. It's sort of like when you're watching a TV show and then they have that random filler episode that just like makes no f***ing sense with the rest of everything.
Yeah, and as much as like the story felt like it was like moving too fast, then those missions kind of breaking up your sense of what was happening with Iden made it even feel more disjointed.
So, jumping back just a little bit to the Vardos mission, did either of you guys get really pissed off at that level? Because I did.
At all the walking.
Well, no. Okay, well, I did at the beginning when it's just all like, okay, here's a half hour of you just walking around town before you can actually start playing the mission. But once the mission actually started, you're on the run, but you're like, okay, yeah, we're all these stormtroopers are after us, trying to capture us, but we're still Imperial soldiers. We don't want to kill them, So you're
Right.
you're supposed to like try and sneak around and stuff. And you do
But-
that for a while, but eventually you get to a point where you are presented with no option but to just mow down hundreds of stormtroopers.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
It
and
is-
that's the
I
problem.
mean, like when
That felt
Aiden,
real weird to me too.
I mean, when Aiden was all like, "We're gonna steal an AT-AT," I was all like, "Okay, so they're gonna get in the AT-AT and they're gonna pretend like they're just regular Imperial guys and they're gonna, walk out of there." Nope. Instead, it's we're gonna get in the AT-AT and blow the f out of the whole city.
Yeah, because they're like, well, I gotta abandon the Empire because I'm not willing to let Imperial citizens die, but I guess I'm cool with killing stormtroopers, even though I also know that they have nothing to do with this.
and
Yeah, I would, and I got really mad because I actually prolonged my campaign play length by probably at least an hour by trying to get past the part right before you get to the AT-AT, trying to get through that with stealth, and you cannot do it.
One of the funniest things about stealth is that your AI companion, they won't see him.
Right.
In a lot
And
of the
he'll
missions.
just run around in front of everybody. Well, and even you, sometimes the stealth is really wonky. Like sometimes they will spot me, and it's like how the, because like a corner of my boot was sticking out around the corner or something stupid like that. And other times I would go and like be jumping up and down right next to some stormtrooper and like doing a little dance and he wouldn't even notice.
And that's part of the problem that I had with the game right off the bat, because it's a first-person shooter. I expect it to perform as I would expect a first-person shooter to perform, and then they wanted me to play Metal Gear Solid with this game, and it was clearly not built to be played like Metal Gear Solid. And I think if it had been, we would have had more of those intuitive moments of, you don't want me to kill everybody, okay, this is now a sneaking mission, and actually have it work.
Yeah, I mean, well, and like I said, I was just annoyed because it's presented to you as a sneaking mission, when you first start out, and then there's, I mean, and if you want to, you could just go and gun everybody down, though. I mean, there's absolutely no consequences for doing that. And but then if you don't, like I said, once you get so far once you get about to that section right before the AT-AT, there's nothing you can do but just kill, a few squadrons of stormtroopers, and it just, I don't know, I guess it just really annoyed me that they presented to you as this sneaking mission, and then towards the end they were like, fuck it, this is making this sneaking is hard. Let's just have them kill everybody.
Yeah, in fact, there were a number of moments where I felt like the mechanics of it being a first-person, or in Joe's case, third-person shooter, held it back from storytelling.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just played through the Injustice 2 story mode over Thanksgiving, and I thought they did a really good job at having a coherent story for when every, time it lets you play, you have to be in a fight game.
Sure. Well, that makes sense.
But, okay, well, then they leave, they go surrender to the rebels. Lando's like, so, I believe in second chances.
So, yeah. It was kind of that level right after, well, kind of annoyed me because, number one, you just walk around and listen to Lando talk for a while, which is
More
fine.
walking.
I love listening to Lando talk, but it's like, just have it be a cutscene. Don't make me wander around. If I don't actually get to play a game, don't make me pretend like I'm playing the game.
Right. There's a lot of that.
But like, I thought I was gonna hate Shriv because in like that first level, you're with him.
He's
really annoying. He just is like constantly like, "Oh, I'm waiting for you guys to betray us. "I'm got my eye on you,"
which is, actually pretty. He's the only one talking sense. You're basically some of the most dangerous individuals in the Imperial
I guess
war machine.
Part of me is like, at the same time, though, it's like half the rebellion's ranks are like Imperial defectors, so it's not like this is a new situation to the rebels.
Yeah, I feel like the status of Inferno Squad does make it a little bit more.
But I mean, they just way overplayed it with him, and it just was really annoying to me. Like, he just never stopped. It's just all like, Dell's like, "Oh, we've got ties coming in," or whatever. He's all like, "Don't forget who you're supposed to be shooting at." "Oh, yeah, okay, we took out that satellite." "Okay, well, at least you know what you're shooting at, I guess." It's just like...
I really liked when you arrive, you hear Leia say, "Lando, just in time," or something like that, and it's what she and Lando say are verbatim text from the Shattered Empire comic, which I read the comic like the night before I played the campaign, so that just was like a really satisfying thing.
See, now, like, that is an actual neat tie-in, like, there, if they lift it when they lift the dialogue straight out of the comic.
And the dialogue that the Sentinel droid says when he talks about Operation Cinder, that's also verbatim right out of the comic, which is cool.
But now the other thing is that kind of, I kind of wonder is like, because I feel like they didn't necessarily plan on having the campaign right off the bat, especially when you read the stuff about Visceral, how a bunch of people kind of got pulled away from their team to work on the campaign for Battlefront II.
Yeah.
Is, how much of it was like they were sort of like in a hurry, and they were like, well, one of the guys is like, and so they start trying to come up with ideas, and one of the guys like reads that comic and is like, "Well, let's take from here. This was a pretty good comic."
At least, even if that's like the easy way out, it still works for me as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, that worked. I mean, it just, I feel like, I mean, there was so much other stuff in the story that didn't work.
Yeah, and to what you're saying about them maybe rushing the game, I thought I read somewhere that they actually didn't finish the campaign, and I'm sure we'll talk about the ending soon, but I thought I read they didn't finish it, and now I'm wondering, because we're getting more single-player content in December, and I'm assuming that's just going to be them finishing the game and pretending like they're giving us more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, because like when they first started talking about the campaign, they were like, you're going to experience, story from the movies on up through, or I mean, from the original trilogy on up through the new stuff. And I mean, I guess we did get that sort of, but not really in this first one. And I feel like, I don't know.
Well, and it does end on kind of an abrupt note, so I'm...
Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like that ending is more of like... So the real ending was the super cliched, all right, we just won the Battle of Jakku, and then Del...
Can I...
Okay, sorry.
You're about to say it. What I'm about to say it.
I was going to say, it's, there was like, woo, we won the Battle of Jakku, and then, like, the sun's setting, and then Del and Versio decide to start making out, and that just...
Yeah, what the...
Yeah, that was... I mean, that was like the stupidest...
The most forced thing.
Yeah.
There was nothing...
I mean...
There was more in that campaign to...
Before that, they were just like...
co-workers
buddies,
and comrades and like friends, and if anything, I think in the book maybe there was hints that maybe she and Hask had interests in that department, and nothing in the game led... They don't even have any like body language that would suggest that, and it's like, oh, these, they're just respect each other as equals or whatever. And then they're just, I'm like, okay, a hug will be fine, or like a high five. Oh, what?
Yeah, it was. I was really mad when that happened. I was all like, "What the fuck is this?"
I was just, yeah.
I was, yeah. I thought
I think Shriv felt that way too. He was like, "What the?"
But then I was so then that next mission level after that, which really wasn't even a level either. That was just another walking simulator. But
With
it was
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, but that was really just it was like an after credits scene.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, that's all it really was. I mean, that's the other thing is like there was no reason to have the gameplay with Kylo in there. It was stupid and pointless. I mean, it should have just been actually what that whole thing was. It should have just been an after credits like cutscene.
I was impressed that they made character models for shore troopers for like the 2 seconds in that thing, because Del was originally stationed on Scarif for a while, so I guess they put that in his memories. And I'm like, they made an entirely new trooper model just for this part, which is impressive because I assume they're lazy. Which is, I don't think, fair, but that just seems like a lot of work for like.
I'm sure they probably. I wouldn't be surprised though if they also had some stuff modeled out when they weren't sure what all games were gonna, like maps were gonna be at launch and stuff like that. I'm sure there was a Scarif map considered at one point, and they probably had shore troopers kind of modeled up. I mean. Because they're and they have them in Battlefront 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they very well could have even just taken the resources, from Battlefront 1 and dropped them into Battlefront 2. But so back to the Battle of Jakku, I hated that level too.
I was so excited. So like. Before I played it, I was like, this is going to be great because I read about it in Empire's End and Lost Stars.
And that was like a complaint we had with Battlefront 1 is we're like, you go to the Battle of Jakku map and it's like after the battle's already done, kind of, and you're like, I want to actually participate in this. Which you do get to do, finally, but it sucked.
Yeah, it was just kind of... Small question: What do you think about them like rebelizing their raider, the Corvus?
It's like whatever.
I couldn't help but wonder if FFG might capitalize on that and give us a rebel raider.
If nothing else, it'll give
with an X-wing fix. They'll include Iden Versio and Del X-wing pilots.
Yes, please.
With an X-wing.
Shriv? Yeah, Shriv as a pilot. All of them. Give me all of them.
And that'll include the X-wing fix that people have been clamoring for decades.
And
then people will be pissed that they have to buy a $90 product to actually play with their X-wings in the game of X-wing.
Yeah, and they'll be like, I want to fly like a 4 X-wing squad, so now I have to buy 2 Raiders.
The ID droid would be an upgrade. There you go. We're doing FFG's job for them.
I suppose because she did have the specialized astromech socket. I thought that was kind of cool, but it was also like it didn't make sense to me either. Like the astromech droid is in there for a reason. It serves a function, and that the ID-10 droid fulfills none of those functions, really.
Well, it's apparently heavily modified by Dell, so just assume it can do whatever you need it to do.
Okay, fine. But no, so like in the Battle of Jakku mission, I kept getting annoyed because there was a bunch of stupid where... So you're flying... So you start out the mission flying around.
I know where this is going.
And then you're flying around in your X-Wing, and then some guys are like, oh, we've got AT-ATs coming for us. Come help us out. And so you're like, okay, I'm on my way. And then you fly, and then you land your X-Wing, and then get run around on the ground shooting at this AT-AT. Instead of, staying in your f***ing X-Wing and just shooting the AT-AT.
With torpedoes or something.
Yeah. I mean,
to be fair,
I get why we did it, but...
Maybe Iden doesn't know how X-Wings work.
Yeah, but I mean, by this point,
right.
She's been a rebel and been flying X-Wings for at least...
months and months.
Well, because the Battle of Jakku was
It's a couple
years.
months. I think
Is
it's
it
only a couple months after Endor. I feel like maybe like a year tops.
Yeah.
Depends. It's maybe all this stuff I've been reading is making things all weird in my head about that.
I thought they
timeline,
said
but-
somewhere it was like 6 months, but I could have been wrong.
Yeah.
Let's
And
see
then
what-
they kissed.
They sure
Yeah, and then they
did.
kissed.
Maybe if they like also then went and kissed Shriv.
No, it says
with
the
just
Battle
as
of
much
Jakku
passion.
was 5 years. Okay, 5 years after the Battle of Yavin, so it'd be about a year after Return of the Jedi and stuff.
Like I'd be okay with it if they both just went and pulled Shriv into their hug and like made out with him too.
Well, he was standing there. He was like, "Hey, what about me?"
I think Shriv and Del were probably my favorite characters from the story.
And Hask. I thought Hask was a
He
really
was
good
too.
foil.
See-
We should have played the campaign from his point of view after they joined
There you
the
go.
rebellion.
Yeah, because honestly, Hask is how I would have expected, Iden to be reacting. Also, yeah, I mean, Del, yeah, he is kind of a wishy-washy kind of wet doodle, so I could see him kind of waffling on the whole
Well, and in
Empire thing, but
in the book we got a sense of that too. So like his character felt how I expected him to be, and I liked that. But Iden and Hask were like, to me, should have been on the same wavelength.
I just want to play a game all as Paul Blackthorne. That's all I really want.
Just literally Paul Blackthorne. They'll just
Yep.
he like wakes up,
Actual,
goes to the
literal
studio,
Paul Blackthorne. Yep.
films an episode of a show.
Because apparently when
Goes out for
when he's
lunch.
acting, he's like completely, totally deep character, and Stephen Amell cannot keep it together. He keeps like trying to get Paul Blackthorne to break character, and I guess it's pretty hilarious. Plus, he's Harry Dresden, so I also want that
So
game.
what?
I also want that game because Harry Dresden is awesome.
if you say so.
It's true story. You bought me the books,
Did I?
at least one.
So it's
I don't know, I bought
disjointed
you lots
as
of
the
Yes, it's true.
the Han and Lando missions kind of breaking the flow of the game. I really like the Lando mission.
The Lando
I thought that
mission
was fun.
was like I didn't like the actual gameplay, but I enjoyed the mission because it was entertaining as hell. At least,
Yeah.
like the actual like level was like boring to play.
It was.
But like the dialogue with Lando and Shriv was great, and then there's just like they just did silly stuff with like the mission objectives. Like Lando was like flying by the seat of his pants the whole time, just kind of making up his plan on the fly as he went along. And so all the mission objectives were like Lando would show up and he'd be like, well, we just got to do, activate the thing on this control panel here. And then you would get there and the control panel, like the mission objective would just be like, push some buttons. And so you do that and nothing happens. And he's all like, oh, well, that one didn't work, I guess. Huh. And then the next mission objective is called just shoot the thing.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the funny little objective names that the Han and Lando levels had. But that was
And I
the
liked
best part of them.
Shriv is just like, if I die here today, I'm glad you'll die too.
Lando's all like,
Glad
well,
you're
thanks,
with
buddy.
For whatever reason, playing as Han, Leia, and Lando, shooting stormtroopers in the forehead is just one of the most satisfying things to me in most any game. Just the way the body physics in this game are just feel so like a film accurate or something, and just especially when there's like a guy with like a stun stick running for you. Like why is this guy here? Who's gave the guy the stun baton and said go get him, and just shooting him in the head as he's sprinting for you. Just headshotting stormtroopers in campaign is one of my favorite things.
So I'm really surprised to hear people say they like that Han mission. I hated that mission.
It was not fun.
I thought it was.
That was another example of, you want this to be something other than a first-person shooter.
Yeah, you spend an hour wandering around Maz's castle.
Yeah, that was
before
dumb.
you get to, and the writing in the castle and the voice acting was so bad. Like, as you're walking around the castle, all these random ass people in the background are having dumbass conversations, and they're the stupidest conversations ever. I mean, whoever wrote the dialogue for Maz's castle should just find a
You
new
didn't like
job,
the one guy
probably.
saying, "I know how to order drinks in Wookiee. Let me try. It's like this." Was that close?
Yeah, no, it was like, it was supposed to be like funny, like background stuff, but it was like 0% funnies the entire time.
I liked once I finally got to start shooting people with Han because, like I said, I just
Shoot it.
liked shooting stormtroopers with Han. That in itself was fun enough for me to enjoy that mission.
Shooting people with Han was fun, except for it was ruined by that dip who tagged along with you and just kept making. He was just making just stupid commentary the whole time.
He was like some I appeal to like the Big Bang crowd, like the people who chuckle
Yeah,
at that.
those
Like he was like, most stormtroopers have an accuracy of 73%, and because he was like a statistician, so like every time he opened his mouth, he had to give you the stats on something, which was supposed to be, I guess, funny, but the
Was
opposite
not.
of that.
Yeah. He probably also looks
Maybe-
for new comics.
It only just occurred to me that maybe they paired Han with the statistician because they were baiting you to think Han was going to say, "Never tell me the odds," but he wasn't really telling odds. He was just saying,
Statistics.
"Yeah."
Yeah. It was dumb.
And then once you got into the Falcon, it got kind of boring again.
Yeah. That whole mission was dumb. You just sort of fly straight at the cruiser and shoot it a few times, and then you're done. Woohoo.
So I feel like we've covered most of the campaign, and if you guys don't have anything more to say, I have a theory that I would like to share, because
Okay,
it's like my last hope of redeeming the mediocre story of this campaign.
So the remainder of this will be predictions, hopes, and dreams for.
Well, this is my idea for the DLC coming
Okay,
up.
perfect.
Okay.
Because we know the DLC is going to be showing us Iden's involvement with the First Order or something like that. So the novel, they're deep, deep undercover. Like I said, Iden killed one of her teammates in order not to break her cover. That's like Inferno Squad. They're no stranger to doing that. For a while, during the campaign, I was wondering if Del and her were just undercover in the rebellion, because before they go out of Vardos, Admiral Versio pulls Hask aside and he's like, "Hey, I gotta tell you some stuff," and you never see what it is. And presumably he was just saying, Del and Iden might out, so keep an eye out and shoot him if you have to. But maybe he said Del and Iden, or not maybe Del and Iden, but just Iden is gonna quit, and you gotta just pretend like you're, just play it off. Don't let Del know, because Del's gonna quit for real. Iden's gonna quit for fakesies, and you just let it slide. So then the rest of the campaign, Iden is deep undercover. Del left for real. She's playing Iden. She's playing the rebellion. Now they got someone on the inside of the New Republic, because they knew the Empire was gonna crash and burn, so they needed someone on the inside of the New Republic. Flash forward, and then she apparently is so cold-hearted, she falls in love with this guy and has a child with him, and all the while remaining undercover. 30 years later, her husband dies at the hands of their old buddy. And I'm really hoping this DLC starts where she's like, "Surprise! I was a bad guy the whole time." Because that would like turn things around and make me go, "Wow, that is one cold-hearted badass Imperial."
So you did just remind me of one other thing I hated about the Battle at Jakku mission, and that's her reunion with her father.
Yeah, that also made my theory of her being undercover the whole time less likely, because there was no one in that room, so they would have been like, "All right, good luck with the whole undercover thing."
Yeah. Instead, they had this thing where before he's all like, I f***ing hate you, you're a traitor, I'ma kill you. And now he's all like, oh, well, good luck with your life or whatever, Aiden.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like, it was like a really cliched, trite, stupid
right
way to write that scene.
And Star Wars
it would have been, it would have been way better had it just been, he's still like, you know what, f*** you, Aiden, get off my ship.
Yeah, I'm not going to shoot you or anything, but I'm not going to give you any respect.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it should have been. Is he's like, you get off my ship, and she just sort of like, she's like, what? But Dad, and he's all like, you're no daughter of mine. Get out of here. And then she she cries, and then at the end of the battle, she like tearfully cries on Dell's shoulder about how much her dad still hates her or something.
And then, like,
instead of making out with him,
his hat floats down like a feather from the wreckage. Lands by her. Yeah, that was weird, and that's the biggest hole in my theory right now. Because otherwise he would have just even just given her a nod, and that would have been. But nope.
So what do you think? What do you think Project Resurrection is? Are they trying to clone Palpatine?
Is that the name of the DLC coming out?
Well, I don't know, but that's what they've been talking
right?
about. They mentioned Project Resurrection.
That just sounds like
during that
me,
end scene.
Oh well, that sounds to me like just the First Order becoming a thing.
Yeah, that seems every bit as likely.
Or maybe it was.
Yeah, but back... I mean, the fact that like Kylo Ren is already there, like I would think that the First Order is already a thing by this point.
True.
Maybe not.
Or maybe it's like a baby thing, and they're still being resurrected. And I thought it was kind of annoying that it felt like they were Rey baiting again. That's like been like in Phasma, they like were like, "Is this child Rey?" And then in Battlefront, they're like, "Is Del and Iden Rey's parents?" I feel like people are just trying to like get as much of that out there as they can, just because they know people are gonna be like, "Huh." I really want her to be the deepest undercover person ever. Like, wouldn't that be like? Because I thought it was just gonna happen. It seemed like the expected thing to me because everything up to that point was so implausible to me that she was just like, all right, I'm a rebel now. That I was like, yeah, she's undercover. She's going to get him. And then it just didn't happen. And I was like, oh. So, like, my disappointment at their turn didn't come until the campaign ended, because the whole time I was, like, anticipating her to be like, ha ha.
Here's my prediction. I think that in the DLC, she will barely have aged a day. She might have a couple of like little gray wisps, but that'll be about it. And she will have many adventures featuring the characters of the new trilogy. And she'll have a reunion with Leia, and she'll be like, "Oh, you haven't aged a day." Like, I know, right?
Even though they aged him a lot.
They did.
For a second, I thought it was like that statistician guy from the Han mission.
Yeah.
See, and that's I didn't realize. That's when I finally realized who was playing. That's when I finally remembered who was playing Hask, because after they aged him up in the it finally looked like him. He looked like Detective Lance. I was like, wait a minute, that's. And then I had flashbacks to some of the behind the scenes stuff where I seen him like dicking around in their mocap suits, and I was like, "That's right, that is him. That is him."
Well, I follow him on Twitter, and when the game came out, he was like, "So in Battlefront II, they tried to make me a 30-year-old man with hair again. All right, let's give it a shot."
So, does anyone else think it's a little weird that they completely like renovated their ship to look totally different, and they like repainted her droid to look all different, but they still decided to call themselves Inferno Squad?
Yeah, I thought that was odd, and especially that the rebels were just kind of cool with it. Maybe they were like, I guess I could see them being like, well, we've taken one of the most devastating weapons of the Empire and turned it against the Empire or something. It's kind of like a haha, take that Empire. Now we have Inferno Squad, but
I mean, maybe, but I mean, at the same time, like when they would capture like Star Destroyers,
right?
They would rename them. You know, they didn't.
Okay, so we need a renaming contest for Inferno Squad.
Droid haters, or I still want to hear your name ideas for the droid.
Droidy McDroid face.
Unless you don't have a name better than Proberto. Because he's
no,
like a
no,
probe droid.
Nobody can suggest Droidy McDroid face.
Droidy McCloud of the clan McDroid Cloud. Oh, wait, no, never mind. That doesn't work.
The first of his model.
Yeah.
Slicer of the terminals and opener
overall,
of the first doors.
What were your guys' thoughts of the campaign? Because mine was, I went from it being the only thing that had me excited about the game, and the thing I was most excited to play, to it actually in the end turning out to be so bad that I almost wish we had just got another game without a campaign.
I'll let you go first, Joe.
I enjoyed the campaign. I was disappointed in the writing moving too fast and not giving me the character development I needed. My problems with the campaign were just some writing bumps that I had to, like, just get over that were just irritating to me. But I still enjoyed it, but it was definitely... I don't want to say it like felt like it was shoot in, but it felt like it needed a lot more polish. It didn't like scorn me the way it scorned you. I enjoyed playing it, and I intend to go play it again on the hardest difficulty sometime and see how that is.
I too was very, very excited for single player, and I do feel like they were halfway through with the game, and they're like, "Oh crap! People really want a single player mode on here? Okay, well, I guess we can do that. Hire me some voice actors." And because there were so many moments, like I've already said, that felt like the game didn't serve the story, and vice versa. If they had just given us a game that was focused more on combat, and there's plenty of ways to do that. I mean, look at Halo. Halo's always got a solid multiplayer and a solid single player without sacrificing one for the other, but I feel like this was a single player built on a multiplayer skeleton, and it just didn't come off as well. And then add to that the very brisk storytelling that, you know, if this was like an 8-episode Netflix series, the first arc of her, you know, just looking at story arcs, her as an Imperial, and then getting to that point of losing faith, that could have, you know, they could have stretched it out easily to be like an 8-episode season. So I don't know. It promised a lot, and it like delivered partially.
Nothing.
Well, I would say partially. Not a large portion. Maybe even a quarter portion.
Like I don't I don't like her being a rebel isn't as annoying to me as them not making me believe she wanted to be a rebel. Mm-hmm. Like, just that transition did not work for me. It worked perfectly with Dell. So, and maybe it's because the people there haven't had experience making single-player games. Like, as far as I know, the single-player campaigns in the Battlefield games have been kind of just shoe-in things that were whatever. I know.
But wasn't the single-player campaign done by Motive?
Yeah, and they had a lot of people.
DICE.
Yeah, and the writing was done by Mitch Dyer and some other people. And as far as I know, he, before writing for this game, was an editor at IGN. I don't know if he had any other like writing credits under his belt for like story things, but I feel like that's a big leap to make.
They could have gotten Alexander Freed to do it.
All I know is that this has made me like not very excited for Motive's standalone game.
Well, it might have a big deal to do with the writing team, and like what Evan said, it did feel like they kind of put this story mode on top of like a multiplayer engine rather than, you know, building it from the ground up to be a story experience.
Yeah, well,
but if there's any indication from
like go play Overwatch, okay? Overwatch has a better story built into it, and there are no single player levels at all.
That you're
the
right.
Story just
You're right.
5-minute YouTube videos.
Well, even if you don't watch those, just
It's like sprinkled.
like, the story you get just with like little like Easter eggs sprinkled around the levels and like little voice lines between the characters and stuff like that. I find that more interesting and believable than any of the we got in this game.
When I went to before Murder on the Orient Express and Justice League, there was an Overwatch trailer in the theater, and I was real worried that they were about to make like an Overwatch cartoon, like Minions or something, because just the way the trailer was presented looks like it was about to be like a kids movie, and then it was just like, we are Overwatch, this is super serious, here's a video game. And I was like, oh, okay, thank God they're not making an Overwatch movie.
Because you're talking about Winston in space, Baby Winston, with his peanut butter.
Yes.
That's like, oh, I love Baby Winston with peanut butter. That's so great.
But, well, I guess we'll have to talk about the multiplayer and all of the other drama about this game later. Maybe after we actually get it. There's been 2 updates for this game already, and they've both just been kind of minor tweaks and not anything
Fixes,
that's good.
Yeah,
It's debilitatingly broken in places.
I looked at the notes that came out, was it today or yesterday? And
I think it was today.
80% of them were like, tweaked this, tweaked that. I'm like,
Right.
explain tweak.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it was like the out of bounds zone on maps.
Yeah.
Because I've been on maps where there's like a little nook that's like on a wall, and if I go into that nook, I'm out of bounds, even though there's a wall there that should be the border. And I'm assuming they've fixed things like that, and I think they fixed some like skyboxes for out of bounds, so like I'm assuming they were all things like that are just too small to like be super specific about. But hopefully by the time the crates DLC and the single player DLC comes out, there'll be something. I've just been hoarding credits because I don't feel like spending them until they let me know what's happening one way or another.
Yeah, that's a good policy. All right. Well, any final thoughts on campaign?
Yeah,
I guess Leo asked for them already.
to personally apologize to our fans for. I think it was right after the game came out. Evan and I recorded a battle chat, or at least we thought we did. Because we used to stream on Twitch, which would automatically record my streams, which I could then download, edit, put on YouTube. I switched to Mixer because it's integrated into the Xbox. So far I'm loving it way more than streaming on Twitch, and it allows Evan and I to co-stream, so you can like look at my stream and look at Evan's while we're playing together. But I didn't know that you had to click a button that told it to record your streams after the fact, so we did a whole thing talking about the game and our thoughts on it and all this, and then it just vanished when we were done with it. So, like, 2 people got to see it because they watched it live. But I still feel bad about that, and I'm annoyed.
I'm sure they forgive you. Not me, though. Just you.
And that was the other thing. When I play with Evan, I do really good.
You do. It's true.
Like, I do kind of middle of the road, and then I play with Evan, and then I'm all of a sudden killing it.
My flailing at mediocrity just makes you better.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I don't know what the right word is. Curious, apprehensive, trepidatious. I've just got my eye on this game because I just want to know what's happening with it because it's such a train wreck right now. And it has so much potential. It could be amazing and it's not. But it could be so easy for them to make it amazing.
I just want them to release the rest of the single-player campaign so I can play through that and then uninstall it.
That's reasonable.
That way I have more space on my hard drive for fun games.
There you go. I don't blame you. All right.
Yeah, like I said, I've been playing other games. I've probably been spending more time playing games that aren't Battlefront than Battlefront, which is not how it should be.
Nope. Okay, now, I think that's going to do it. All right, so I guess, like you said, we'll talk about multiplayer next time, maybe after things shake out. So, in the meantime, I'll take it this time, since I wasn't on the last one. Let's see.
Take it away.
I'm taking it away. Once again, patrons are the finest human beings that the world has ever seen. So if you'd like to become part of an elite cadre, you should go over to patreon.com/thejodocast, and then we will thank you personally in many, many ways. And we also have, new feedback survey.
Oh, yeah,
Joe, talk about that.
That's a thing where if you, let's say you like us enough to be a patron, you should fill it out because we care what you think. Or if you like us but don't feel like supporting us on Patreon, you can support us by filling out the survey and giving us information. It's just like, what do you like and what don't you like? Things like that. What games do you play? Because maybe you play
Star Wars the card game.
Puzzle Quest on your phone and you want us to talk about that. Right? Nobody plays that Puzzle Quest game? Is that what it's called? Is it called Puzzle Quest?
Marvel Puzzle
It's
Quest?
dumb.
Yes. No.
No, it's a
Magic
droid game
Puzzle
with
Quest.
BB-8, and it's just a Bejeweled ripoff.
Yeah, no. No one plays that.
But yeah, it's just on our website. It's at the top. Do it if you like us at least a little bit, or especially if you like us any amount from 0 to 100. You should probably fill this out so we know.
It's true. And of course, if you want to listen to us someplace besides where you currently are, or you want to tell a friend where to find us, you can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and also on YouTube if you just like putting it on and listening to it and not watching. And also our RSS feed, you can plug into whatever podcatcher you have. If you want to talk with us, you can do so at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. They're all .com/thejodocast. And if you want to watch us, again, YouTube, there is watchable stuff there also, especially from Joe, does a fantastic job of getting content out. And Leo, with a recent review of, Guns for Hire?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. I'm the only one that's not doing crap on there because I don't have a good camera. And
you're in some of the Battlefront videos with me.
Yeah, you can hear.
And the Lego Star Wars videos, which I think are criminally underrated.
They really.
I don't know if any of our Lego Star Wars videos have more than 100 views.
But they are.
They
are pretty wonderful. The editing really helps the comedic timing of it. And then also we're on Twitch, like Joe mentioned also.
Well, and also Mixer now.
And Mixer.
I think it's mixer.com/thejodocast. I don't know if...
I think so?
Yeah, I guess you can follow us there.
Oh, yeah.
Should be. But like I said, I'm trying to use that more because I'm finding it like a million times more user-friendly than Twitch on my Xbox.
And if you want to talk with us and others, you can do so a couple places. Our subreddit, reddit.com/r/thejodocast. And our most popular feature is our Discord channel, which is always poppin' day and night. And you can find a link to that over at our website, along with links to all these other things we've already mentioned, at jodocast.com. And if you really, really, really need to email us, you can do so, show@jodocast.com. And just let us know that you emailed us something so that we know to look for it. And I think that's probably gonna do it. I think we're in Discord right now, talking about goats. So that's the thing. If you want to come
Honestly,
talk goats with
I
us,
think our Discord is the best thing that's happened to the podcast in a long time.
I'm not going to argue with that because I'm the one that got you on it, kicking and screaming. With that, unless anybody's got anything else, I know you two don't hold back. So if not, we're gonna sign off and say goodnight, and we'll talk with you later. That was really lame.